this should work. Let me know if the audio is good. I don't know if this is gonna be good or not. So we'll see. Let me know. Alright, let's hope this works right, because if this does not, we're gonna have a major issue. Also, webcam is on. I don't know if I've done that before for a stream. So let me see if I can get this. Let me see if are we good on YouTube? It looks like we're good on YouTube. Okay. Let me do this thing. Anybody know how I pin stuff? Wow, that is really annoying. Alright, there we go. We should be good. Okay. Audio sounds fine, more or less. Let me see something real quick. It's going to be hard to monitor chat, but that'll be okay. Alright, let's get into it. We're going to be ranking every single Zelda game, because I finally beaten them all, and that was my goal, is to like rank them once I finally finish, and it's done now. So that's what we're going to be doing. YouTube chat work? Okay, that'll be fine. Alright, we'll go ahead and go in the order of like whoever these start out on. I did move Link Between Worlds first because I just made a video about that. So I figured that that's probably not going to be any secret, so we're just going to start off with that one. But Link Between Worlds, I think, is S tier. By the way, oh, sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. The SS tier, I don't think that there is a bad Zelda game, and I think the majority of them are good. So if I just left it as S tier, most of them would be like at that point. But I'm putting like the special ones at SS tier. Like these are the ones, these are the big dogs. This list is subject to change because I did not plan this. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. I really don't know where I'm going to be putting these until I can kind of take a look at the list. So they might change, but yeah. Also, if anybody in chat has like a good point that I could flip flop on, might do that as well. Who knows? But how do you turn streamer mode on? Is there a way for that? Whatever. I'm not even gonna bother with that. Okay. It's a scuff stream. Whatever. All right. So let me do this real quick. That might be good. Okay. Alright, sweet. Okay, so yeah, Link Between Worlds, I just made a video on it. I think it's really good. I think it's underrated. So I'm putting that at SS tier. Later on, depending on how I feel, I might move it down to just S tier. I think that this is like one of the more perfect Zelda games. All the people who like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they would love this one, and all the people who like the old school formula would also love this one because it's like the old school Zelda, but it's more open world because you can do dungeons out of order, you can go pick up items whenever you want them, you can just kind of go around and visit the entire map. The map is loaded with stuff too. This is one of the few Zelda games where I feel like all the side quests kind of like pay out pretty well. Like no hate to like some of the others, but most side quests, like the rest of them, are like, hey, go here and bring me this, and I'll give you like $5. I'm like, that's not worth it. I spent like a good bit of time like doing that. Like with this one, you know, you find all the little hermit crabs or the mai, I forget their names. Yeah, you get all those. You get to upgrade your items. They do like really good, insane stuff. Like big differences, like huge differences. Like the little fire rod becomes like absolutely insane. So I think it's pretty good. I think that's one of the better ones. But yeah, I'm leaving that one at SS tier right now because I think that one's like really good. All right, next up, I think that's Link to the Past. I could be wrong. I think it is Link to the Past. I mean, it's It's like the first really, really good one. I think Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 are like. I think Zelda 1 is good. I hate Zelda 2. I feel like most people do. But this is the one that like kind of sets in the formula and makes sure it's really good. There are a couple hiccups, which most of it is just because like games were not that big, or like they were big, but like level design and stuff and like game design was still like kind of a hidden concept, which I think like Nintendo did the best. Back then they kind of got their footing pretty early, but there's a couple of moments in there, especially with like the medallions and stuff, where you could go the entire game not getting the medallions, and then you have to you need what is it? There's two dungeons I believe that you need the medallions in order to even open up. And if you have no guide or anything, there's nothing really in the game that tells you to go find those unless you just go around and talk to people kind of earlier in the game. But I think my first playthrough of this one, I did run into the issue where I made it to is it Turtle Rock? Which one of the whatever dungeon needed one of those. I did not have it because I was unaware that those even existed and that I would need one. So other than that, this is phenomenal. I think that this one is like almost perfect, like very, very close. But I think it is S tier. I think that A Link Between Worlds is better than it because I know in the Japanese editions, like this is literally called A Link to the Past 2, or it's called Gods of the Triforce, I think, or something. I forget the actual Japanese name, but it just translates to the second one of this. So they improved a lot here. I think that a lot of the hiccups that this one made aren't really seen here, but that could be because it's 3D models and stuff. So, all right, Four Swords Adventures. I'm gonna put this in B tier for now. It might go higher. It definitely will go lower, but this one is another one that I feel like is kind of underrated. This is the least sold Zelda game, I believe, still to this day. And like rightfully so. In order to play this, you need like 4 Game Boys and a GameCube, and then like a special type of cable specifically made just for this game. So I think that it kind of makes sense why this one is not really perceived the best when it first came out, because like nobody's gonna buy a game that you also need to buy 4 other consoles for in order to play. But I went out of my way over the last couple of years in order to get this, a GameCube, which I have sitting back there. That's the GameCube right there. Hold up, that's not good. What is this? Sorry, it looked like my live stream crashed. I was like, that's not good. All right, that GameCube right there, that is it. And I have the copy of Four Swords Adventures that I still have like down here. Hold up. I own almost all of them, but this is one that I was like very happy to own because like look at it, dude. Hold up. This is the Japanese edition because I have a Japanese GameCube, but like I got this one. It's so expensive to get, but like the Japanese edition is cheap. But like, dude, you get that, boom. It's adorable. Also, this version has something that like the English one doesn't, called like Tetra trackers or something, or Navi trackers. Like this, that's not seen in the other one, which I think is weird. Why this one had it and the others didn't, but whatever. But I like this one. I think it's very underrated. It's better than the first Four Swords. Out of all the multiplayer Zeldas, I feel like that one is the best. I think it's better than Triforce Heroes. I think it's better than Four Swords, like the first one, because it's a little bit more linear. And in a game where like you have 4 people constantly moving around, like you kind of need it to be a little bit more linear just so people don't run away. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. It actually uses it really well. And then also like what was the other thing? It's also a genius game. Like the reason why you need 4 Game Boys is because you plug in a link cable, plug it into the GameCube, and then everyone looks at like the main screen. And then if you go in like a little cavern that nobody else follows you in, you'll be transferred onto your Game Boy so you can move around. And like you can get items and stuff while everyone is still fighting around on like the overworld or something. That's genius. It works really, really well. I think that it's smart. I wish that we would have gotten a remake of this like back in the Wii U era, because I don't think it'd be feasible near the Switch one. But if this was ported onto the Wii U and you had people use like their 3DSs in order to play it, it it would have done numbers. I love this one. It sucks that like it is one of the more like less sold ones. I think it is the least sold, but I like it a lot, and I think it's underrated. I'm aware it has some major flaws, like some dungeons just really are not fun. There's some other issues. That's why it's kind of placing lower. But I might move it to A tier later on. I just gotta see what else we got. The original Four Swords. I think it's also B tier. I'll put it slightly behind. We'll do the thing that they do where like if it's like closer to the left, it is better. So yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, Four Swords Adventures are the normal Four Swords. I think that's fine. I really might put this in A tier. Like it is better. It is better. Hold up, who's calling me right now, dude? All right, there we go. Anyways, all right. Ain't no way. All right, where are we? Oh yeah. So I don't know. This Four Swords is good. I'm glad that they ported it to Switch because it is really it's a fun one. I like multiplayer Zelda games. I wish we had more of them, but I mean it's the first Four Swords is okay. So this one must be Link's Awakening then. I think Link's Awakening is eight. Sorry, we keep scroll down. Yeah, Link's Awakening is S tier or SS tier. Sorry, it is. It's really good. Bro, who is calling me, dude? Yeah. All right, I'll put that there. I think that that's pretty fair. But Jorah's Mask, I mean, come on, this is my all-time favorite. That's going right there. I think the mechanics do really well for it. I think the masks are fun. I mean, yeah, there's not much else to say. It's got probably the most solid set of like 4 dungeons. I'd much rather have like a good 4 than like a ridiculous 8 or something. Um, but and if you look at dude, the dungeons for those 4 compared to like Breath of the Wild, dude, they're insane. They're much better. The only one that I think I have an issue with is George, or not Georg, whatever the little fish guy is. I don't like him. I think the item system's good. I mean, it's just fun. Also, it's probably like the most emotional out of all of them. Like that you actually get to help out NPCs a little bit better compared to other ones. Like most of the time, you help them and then they just kind of stand idle. Like with this one, like they all have their own schedule. They move around. Like still in games today, like they will not have as much detail as like this one did. Like all the Assassin's Creeds, like the last couple that I've played, that came out forever past this one, you will like help someone and they'll just stand in like the back of an alleyway the entire time and not do anything. But like the attention to detail here with like every single character is insane. Also, I scrolled down to the where like you can't see anything. Sorry, I'm trying to match this up. There we go. That's better. Yeah, the attention to detail here is insane. I love it. I think the storyline is good. I think it's a good sequel to Ocarina of Time. I think that it even though it uses all the same assets, it does it like in a clever way where it's like, whoa, it's parallel universe. Check it out. But that's my favorite Zelda game of all time. I think it's great. Ocarina of Time. Yeah, it's going there. I've already made a video about that one too, but yeah, it's just really good. I don't really have a lot more else to say about it that I already haven't said. All right, Oracle games. Both of these are on the same, even though they're different games, they're on like the same level. Like goodness, I think. I saw someone like post online being like, I think they thought it was gonna be like a crazy bird or something, but they were on Twitter like, I see all these people like making fun of Pokemon fans for paying for two different versions of the same game, but when are Zelda fans gonna admit like this? And I'm like, you could not be more wrong. These are two completely different games. They have like their own set of dungeons, like their own like little final boss. Like the only thing that they share is like sprite work and then a couple characters. That's it. And then of course, like if you beat both of them, you get a little code that you can input in like in one of them, and you can beat like the secret final boss that you can only get by like beating both of them. Which is really cool. It's really clever. I think that the dungeons are okay. I don't remember which one has it, but one of them has a really bad water dungeon. And I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is. But both of them just kind of have some fumbles in different areas. They're still really good. I like them a lot, but I think we might have our first A tiers, to be honest. I think that these are both really good. It doesn't matter which one is like. Actually, I like Ages better than I do Seasons. Like slightly, I like Ages better, but that's because I think that changing like what time period you're in is infinitely more cool than like now it's fall. Oh, making it spring. Like I get it helps like with the level design and stuff. Like you can go to different places, but I like Ages better. I like the story for this one a little bit better than I do Seasons. Also, Seasons has like a reoccurring dungeon, which is really weird. And it's not really reoccurring. It's just like the little lava land that you go to. You have to constantly revisit it in order to unlock like a new like season, or in order for you to like utilize. I still think it's better. It's a better like reoccurring dungeon than Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks have, but I still don't think it's. I don't like going back to the same place if there's not like a really good reason. I get you're getting like a new power up, but this one kind of does it better just because you can do like. You go to like different sections of it, but every time you go back, like something happens in the lava land. Like you get your items stolen one time, you have to like go around and re-get them. Like it's just it sucks like going from a dungeon and then like trying to get to the next one, and you're having to go back to this random place, get the new season, and a lot of times there's like a loophole or something you got to do in order to actually cross it. It just takes up much like more time. It kind of inflates like your playtime a little bit. So I do think Ages is better than Seasons. I'll take back my previous statement, but Ages is better. What's next? Phantom Hourglass. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna have to move. I'm gonna have to move for Swords Adventures. That's gonna be really unpopular, but I'll put it there because I think Phantom Hourglass belongs here. Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, here's the deal. Phantom Hourglass is the first Zelda game that I played. It's great, but it's just there's some things that really like piss me off about it because the reoccurring dungeon is the worst here than like any of the others. You have to constantly like go back through these floors. I don't think that it's like super terrible, like ruins the game as much as everybody else does. Like I think it's just kind of like a minor inconvenience. Because I see people be like, oh, it's terrible. Like you have to go through and do the exact same thing. You don't have to do the exact same thing. Like the more items that you unlock when you return, it makes it easier. So like one of the floors that I can remember, like you normally have to go down and like do a whole bunch of like crazy stuff in order to get back up to like the door, which is on like the other side. But once you get bombs, you can just bomb this little part in the middle and just run over to the door, and you're there. So it is built in mind that once as you accumulate like more items, you will go through it faster than you did like the previous time. So I think that makes it better. I think it makes it like it's not as bad as people say. I do think that the touch controls are not as obnoxious as people say they are. I've never had like a super major issue with them. And I've played through that one so many times, but I can't really remember an issue with like the touch controls. Like it's pretty easy. The only thing that is an issue is items where you can only use an item when you're standing still. So like for the boomerang, if you're using the boomerang for combat, you're gonna get hit because you're like your guy is standing still. Like Link is standing still, and you're trying to draw like whatever spiral you're trying to do for the boomerang to go, and like they'll just get closer and like hurt you. And it really sucks like dying that way because you're like that guy dude that it doesn't feel like an earned death. Like in games, if you know, there's sometimes that like you died and you're like that's fair. Like I should have died there. But this one just really makes you feel like you got cheated or something. Do I think it's better than Four Swords though? I'm gonna say it is. I think it's better than Four Swords. Just because Four Swords is like random levels and stuff, and a lot of them are really aggravating. And there's no like quick call button for like when you're playing with friends. So that was my chair, I swear. There's a good chance like you and your friend might separate and end up on opposite sides of the map. So you're like stuck at this little point waiting for them to like come back up to you. And there's a lot of blocks, and I get like the whole gimmick is like, hey, multiplayer, like you have to stick together and play together, but it's just there's a lot of it that just seems like it wasn't built in the mindset of like so like maybe you can go off and do everything like something on your own. So even though like you want to explore, because there are power ups that you can get in, like Four Swords that do help out a lot. So you can get like a power up for your sword, a defense power up, speed power up, and like those help you out a lot. But they're built in places where like you can only get one here. So it's like contradictory because you have stuff that level design that is built for just a single person completing, and then with the main game actually being for like you have to have everybody here for stuff. So either all of your friends have to like separate at the same time, go grab whatever level ups you want to get, and then come back. And then there's organizing like whatever item you have. It just kind of crams multiplayer down your throat a little bit too much, I guess like to say, because that's why I think Four Swords Adventure is a little bit better. Because if you play with four people, most of the puzzles in that game, like I think there's only like one per level that you will actually need all four people for. So it's a little bit better that you can split into groups of two, or even some puzzles you can do completely on your own, and you have like a little bit more sense of freedom, and you don't have to be like tied to the hip of like the other three people that are playing this game. So I do think that I think the Phantom Hourglass is better than that, just because of that. Also, the dungeons in Phantom Hourglass are pretty good. There's only one I think that is not that good, and I think the story for Phantom Hourglass really makes it like a lot better too. Which one's next? Restream? Why are you telling me this? Jeez. Alright, let's see what else we got. Why can I not see this, dude? Sorry, am I like... The hardest part of this is trying to get like a monitor up in order to see like chat and different types of stuff. Where is it? Okay, there we go. There we go, that's better. Okay. Next up, Skyward Sword. Again, this is one where like the main issue that people have with it, with like the motion controls, I never really had. And I did play it on a Wii. I played it on Wii and Switch, but I think I never had an issue with it. Like I never thought it was really bad. The main issue with this game is just that it is super slow. Like it is 30 hours, right? Or how many hours does it take to complete Skyward Sword? Do they estimate like 30 or 45? It just feels inflated because I bet if they did not slow it down a lot or have you like revisit different areas, it would be a lot better. And then also like the whole like not demise, what is it? The imprisoned. You have to do that way too often. Like people rip on Phantom Hourglass for having like a reoccurring dungeon, but this is infinitely worse because it's the same thing. Um, where do I put on this? I do think that I think it's better than Phantom Hourglass. I do think it's better than Four Swords Adventures. I think I gotta put it at A tier. I think I gotta put it here. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I think that that's a good spot for it. Gosh. All right. Spirit Tracks. See, here's the issue. In like my opinion, I think that it like depends on how I wake up on which one of these is better. Because like the story on both of them are great. They both have like around the same issues with like touch control styles, but I think that this one has a better reoccurring dungeon because you don't actually have to go through the same floors. You just have to go to like a new level. So like the Tower of Spirits, every time like it stacks on, you just go to a new section. It's completely new. Nothing is reused. You just have to go to the same location to access it, which I think fixes that like huge. But on the other hand, they ruined it more by adding the little flute and having you like having to blow into your mic in order to get it like, you know, in order to use the flute. And there's a lot of major sections where you need it. I remember like playing this as a kid, and that was like I made it up into the point of like the first sage, and I could not for the life of me, I couldn't for the life of me. I could not get it like to work. And I remember like asking my dad for help. I remember asking my mom. I was the older brother, so I didn't have an older brother to ask. But like I had so many issues trying to get this to work. So I mean that just kind of ruins it. That they did a good trade off, and then they did a really bad one. Also, like it makes it lose. This is kind of a spoiler. In the final fight, you have like this epic climactic. Like the final fight has like 4 or 5 stages. Like you go through a lot in order to get there. And then in the middle of the fight, right when like it's heating up, and you're like, all right, let's beat this game. They have another quick time event with the flute, and it kills all momentum because the odds are you're going to mess up, and they're going to be like, oh, you got to try again. And the final boss is just sitting there right next to you, and it's like waiting for you to finish. It's like, go ahead, like you can play the flute. I'll let you play again. And it just kills all hype for like what would have been a really really good like final boss fight, final ending, like all that stuff. I just felt like my ceiling shake. I didn't know what that was. Oh snap! Hold up, I had a friend join. There we go. All right, whatever. Yeah, but that's like it's okay. It's an okay game. I think that it really does depend like on how I wake up whether I think it's better than Phantom Hourglass or not. Might have been better if you had a million beers. Honestly, yeah, probably. It would have been a much better game. I would definitely fail the flute section though too. Just pretend like these two are at the same level because I think that like they really are. They're just the same. I'll leave them there. I think B tier's fair. Yeah, let's go with an F tier. Zelda 2 is the worst Zelda game of all time. For multiple reasons. It does zero right. I hate it with a. Oh, let me scroll up. Sorry, the screen just keeps shaking, dude. Every time. Yeah, it. I hate this one so much. It is so difficult for no reason. Uh, Most NES games have like a major issue of like a difficulty scaling because it used to be like at arcade cabinets you put a quarter in and like you just play until you die, and then once you die you put another quarter in. So like a lot of the first gen like NES games kill you for no reason except there's no save files. If you die in this game like in a dungeon and you run out of lives, you were sent all the way back to the start, and there's no like quick travel until semi later on. Are you able to quick? I think you're able to quick travel through dungeons once you get the flute. I can't remember. It's been a while since I beat this one. But this is one that I've beat twice, and I will probably never pick up again unless like I do a streamathon or something. Because I hate this one so much. It is so difficult, and unless you have a guide, there's no way you can beat this one. I really doubt it. One of my roommates last semester like saw me playing this out on like the like TV out in our living room, and he was like, "Oh, that doesn't look like that hard." And I was like, "Here you go. Let me." I said, "I'll give you $20 if you can beat the first dungeon." And I like gave him the remote, and he could not do it. It is the first dungeon. It's way too difficult for what it is, and it's not like like Dark Souls is difficult because it's like semi fair. Like it's meant to be hard because you have to memorize attack patterns and stuff like that. But in a game like this, no death feels really earned. Like you feel cheated out because a lot of enemies just throw a million projectiles at you, and there's no way you can dodge them all. The one of the time I don't know how I beat this on the Wii. Like it took me forever to do, but I recently played on Switch, and Switch has the thing where if you pull like the hold back the two buttons, you can go backwards a couple frames. So the idea of like if you get hit, you can go back. I was still dying after I went back like a couple frames. Like this, I had basically infinite lives and I was still dying. This game is so difficult for no reason. It's awful. If you want to have like the worst time ever, just play this game. Alright, Zelda 1. I think that's fair. Oh, sorry, the thing's messed up. I gotta remember not to scroll down. I think A tier's fair. I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than these down here, in like a nostalgic way. It has around the same issues as Zelda 2, but like much less. Wouldn't the game be difficult, present a larger learning curve? No, because there's no learning curve. Like it's some enemies you are going to get hit. Like there's almost zero chance you can do a damageless run on this. Like some enemies, there's this one that has like a little boomerang, and he constantly throws it at you. So the boomerang it'll go past you because it's a side scroller. So like the guy will be here and he'll throw a boomerang at you, and it'll go over you and then it'll come back. So you have to, while the boomerang's gone though, he doesn't have an attack weapon, so that's the best time to attack. But the boomerang will come back, so you have to like perfectly either block it with your shield, jump down. Like it's just too hard. It's not a big learning curve making it fun either, because there's not a lot of times in the game that you actually have like a fun time. Like there's a few moments that were like like the final boss fight I think is pretty fun. The Thunderbird and then Dark Link is really cool. I think that's the best part of it is like the final boss, and also like the music's really good. The music is really the only thing that I can say is like is the best part of it. But no, this is not this is not a good game. There's no learning curve for it. You just either die or you don't. At the end of the day you have to get lucky or just abuse like reminds you of your ex-wife. Yeah, at the end of the day, you just have to get lucky or something, or just abuse magic spells. But you run out of magic way too frequently too. Zelda 1 I'll leave here. I think that's pretty fair. All right, Wind Waker. Put in A tier. I see a lot of people put this one at S tier for some reason, but I don't think it's S tier. I think it has the coolest looking like graphics. So like the art style and art direction for it is really cool. But it has such a big issue that nobody talks about. Every time I see somebody glazing this game, I'm like, are y'all not going to talk about like the Triforce Quest? No matter what version of the game you play, it's awful. It halts your gameplay. Like that, most Zelda games are like you jump from dungeon to like getting to the next dungeon to getting to the next dungeon to dungeon. And then like there's a little halfway mark where maybe you get the Master Sword or something, and then you continue on. And this one has that formula until like the third non-existent dungeon. You get the 2 pearls in order to get like the Master Sword, and then the 3rd pearl is just given to you, which is already like really weird because normally like you're expecting like another dungeon or something. Then it's just given to you, and then after you get the Master Sword, the game just like stops because the best dungeons are the first two that you do, and then the next two they're awful. The Earth Temple's okay. Like that one is not the worst thing ever. It's not the best, but it's you know it's pretty bad. But the Wind Temple is just one big like room that you have to like go through the levels of, and it's just exhausting. There's so much backtracking for it. You go through like the same area like 15 times. The enemies are really annoying because I hate when they make like one hit enemies that will spawn in randomly like kill your gameplay because like there's no point in that. You have to kill them and then they instantly respawn like the little things. Then there's enemies in that dungeon that send you all the way back to the beginning, and you have to do this with a like an NPC. You have to carry the little Korok around the entire dungeon, and if he gets grabbed, he's sent all the way back to the beginning, and you have to go back. It is exhausting, and then the number one fumble with this game is the Triforce quest, because after you do those two dungeons, you have to find like the Triforce. So you have to go around the entire sea getting these maps in like random locations, which most of them have like their own side quests. It has to add like 5 to 10 hours on that game for no reason whatsoever. But for 5 to 10 hours, you have to find the charts, spend the fortune to get the charts deciphered, and then go dig them up, and then rinse and repeat 8 times. It's the same thing, and it's the same little room that you have to go to as well to get the little charts. So it sucks. It absolutely kills any momentum this could have had in the final act. The only reason that this is the best out of all the A tiers is because like the final boss fight is gas. It is really good. The final like little boss fight is great. But the entire after you get the Master Sword to the final boss fight, I wish you could just cut it out or something, because it's exhausting. I really think that ruins this game. This game would be S or even SS tier if it did not have that, and if they just had like 2 really good dungeons. But it's just I really despise that. It basically ruins the game. Alright, next up, Triforce Heroes. Yeah, let's go in there. I feel like that's pretty fair. I don't have a lot to say about that one. I think that it's kind of annoying. Also, I don't like a lot of the systems. It has the same issue that like Four Swords has, where there's not you can't go and do your own stuff. You're pretty much tied to the waist as like the other 2 people you're playing with. So I don't like that one. All right, Twilight Princess. Yeah, this is another unpopular opinion. I don't like Twilight Princess. It takes way too long. The game, like, it just drags on longer than Skyward Sword. The entire opening act, I wish that they would just cut. I see a lot of people defending it, basically saying the idea is to get you attached to the townspeople before, like, they all get, brutally kidnapped or murdered. But you could do that a different way than having me spend the first hour of this game, like, oh, my cat went and got this fish. Can you get my cat a fish? Like, oh, can you find this for me? Hey, my baby, I left my baby over there. Can you go grab him? I think it's dumb. And you have to keep wrangling, like, your little bulls or something. And not to mention, like, every dungeon in here takes way too long. And the little wolf sections are just super dull. Like, this game does not become fun until you get the Master Sword. But at that point, you're already, like, 15 to 20 hours in. Sometimes even 30 if, like, you're really having a rough time. So, it's any game that you have to play, like, 20 or 30 hours for it to get fun, I don't think is worth it. The only redeeming qualities that this has is, like, the graphics look great. I think this is one of the better looking Links, if not the best looking. Minda's great. She's the best companion. And then the final boss fight is okay. It's okay. It's not mediocre. It's not like super terrible. I also think Zelda does actually has like a super important role in this one compared to like some others, where she, most of the time she just stands there and does nothing. But here, like, she sacrifices herself for Minda. You have like the little puppet boss fight. She helps out in the final boss fight battle. I think it's great. But I think it's better than Four Swords. I don't know if I think it's better than Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks. And I'm aware that this is like a wildly unpopular opinion. Like people love this game for some reason, but it took me a year. Like when I was playing all of these, like some of these I played when I was little, some of these I played like very recently, but it most of the time I was just like, yeah, like it took me like a month or two to beat it. This one took me a year and a half. I could not for the life of me beat it. I legit streamed to my friends like when I was beating the final boss fight because I was like, hey, remember that game I was telling you about that I hate that I'm trying to beat? Like I'm beating it now. I beat Twilight Princess I think 2 years ago, and that at the time like Tears of the Kingdom wasn't out, so that was the last one that I needed to beat in order to say I'd beat all of them. And that may be why I enjoyed it like less was just because it was like the final thing at the finish line for me to like try to do. But I don't think so. I think it's bad. I don't think it's that good. I really don't. All right, let's see which one we got next. Did I mess up the aspect ratio? Okay, then. All right, next up is Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I'll put it there. I'll put it there. I think that's a good spot for it. I'm trying to think. Thank God. What? What Breath of the Wild as this tier? Kawui, I'm pretty sure that's the only one you've played, isn't it? You want to join VC? Anything below that, you want to join VC? I'll go into my server real quick. Join the stream channel. I got you. I think it's good. Give me your take. Yeah, give me your take on it. Give me your take on it.
Hello?
Hello, what's up?
Alright, bro, so
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll fucking hear myself anyway. I I've played Majora's Mask, I've
Okay.
played Tears of the Kingdom, and I played Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
I agree with Majora's Mask.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great game. And I agree with Breath of the Wild. I just think that, you know, maybe Breath of the Wild should be a little higher.
So here's my take on it is the Breath of the Wild's main issues is that the dungeons are awful.
Okay.
If you took a screenshot of all of the dungeons and like gave them to me, I would be unable to identify which one was where. They and
It's
three
fair.
out and three out of the four of the main bosses can be beaten with just bomb arrows. Outside of Thunderblight Ganon, all of them can be destroyed with just spamming bomb arrows, which just
So
kills a lot of creativity that like the rest of them have in their boss fights. And I understand that the reason why was because like it's open worlds, like people could go to any dungeon at like a different order. But
yeah,
A Link Between Worlds, which came out a couple years beforehand, has the exact same thing where you can go to dungeons in different orders, and it still finds a way to have very, very unique dungeons. So it's not like they couldn't have thought about it. The other thing I think is the final boss fight is very lackluster. I think that the Ganon fight is just not the best. I'm glad Tears of the Kingdom like saves it with like a really, really good final boss fight. But the main issue with Breath of the Wild is if you were to take all the Zelda aspect stuff away and put a new IP on it, it would be
yeah,
untouched. Like if you, outside of Zelda the Master Sword Ganon and like a couple Zelda tribes, it is unrecognizable from any of the others. Outside of like a couple locations. But that's not
for
to say I
sure.
don't like that. I just wish that they would have leaned in more into like the Triforce or like other Zelda aspects that would have made it like a lot cooler. Because I think an open world Zelda game would be like really cool if it had all of the like stuff that makes it great. But I think it's good. I think it's good. I'll leave it there.
It's
Guy,
it's it's
guy who burps saw Zelda enjoyed. Nice, thanks. Guy who burps. What's up?
the gripe I have with your reasoning here, young man,
Okay.
is that I it's just a Wii U game. You know what I mean? Wii U didn't have that many good games at all. So I
That's
think that
fair.
the fact that Breath of the Wild was released on Wii U, because I'm hoping that Nintendo knew, or Nintendo, what the hell? I'm hoping that they knew that they fucked up and they put Breath of the Wild on there as of like a, hey, we messed up. Here you go, throwing you a bone kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
think that it should be higher for that sake. But then after that, I mean,
The thing is, I'm
Tears
looking
of the
at the.
Kingdom should definitely be.
I'm look.
I
Oh,
think that
this is
Breath of the Wild should be. What's the one before Majora's Mask? I can't read it that deep.
Ocarina of Time.
I think Breath of the Wild should be below Ocarina of Time, and then Tears of the Kingdom should be where Breath of the Wild is right now.
Mm. Hi to your friend too. What are your names? I'm Greedy. He is Kalel. Would you like me to link your channel, Kalel? Kawibi?
Fucking, I don't upload anymore, bro. Go follow like the Trend Twins or something.
Alright, never mind. Yeah. The only reason that this is like below all of these is because I think Link's Awakening slips by, but I do think I think Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are definitely more solid than Breath of the Wild. Story wise too, because the story in Breath of the Wild is non-existent. Like the
True.
game actually
True.
makes you like go out of
Yeah.
your way to actually find out the story. Like
Yeah.
the game does not present it at all outside of
Whenever I played it, it was very like annoying because
yeah.
like at one point I was going to cash in to get to upgrade, or I
Yeah,
forget what they called it, but to go upgrade, and then the next point I'm helping some lady find her fucking lost dog and I get killed.
yeah.
So like
It would
it
be a
was it
lot.
was
It'd be a lot better if the story was presented maybe before dungeons because it's already out of order. So the story's already out of order because you can go find all your memories like differently. So it
yeah.
doesn't matter like if they would have put it actually in like one of the dungeon quests.
Not
But
here,
it's
little
just you can
fatty.
honestly you can go through the entire game and accidentally never find any of your memories and be so confused by like the ending credits. And
Yeah.
I wish so. I think Majora's Mask I think Ocarina of Time is probably one of the probably the most solid story out of all the Zelda games. Just because it stands
Also
alone,
more
it's not a
notable.
yeah, it's not a sequel. It's good. It's got a good memorable
Yeah.
story to it. I think Majora's Mask sneaks by. The only reason this is higher than Ocarina of Time is because I think mechanics wise and also like the funness level. I had a lot more fun with Majora's Mask than I did Ocarina of Time.
Wasn't Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time the two most speedran games apart from Breath of the Wild?
I think Tears of the Kingdom has beaten them, but they just got like a little bit. I think that's just because it has like a new higher fan base. But
Yeah.
and then Link Between Worlds, I think is like the perfect combination of like what Breath of the Wild and like Ocarina of Time are. Like I think it takes the open world aspects with the old school formula and it makes it really good. So I think, in my opinion, the more like open world leading ones, this is the best one. I think Link Between Worlds, and then Link's Awakening is just a beautiful game. I think that one is great, and the reason that this squeaks by Breath of the Wild is purely so like story wise. Obviously, like mechanics and gameplay wise, Breath of the Wild would beat this one, but dungeons and stories wise, I think Link's Awakening is absolutely winning at
Oh,
the moment.
that's like I feel like if that those are the two comparing factors, you're like comparing black to white. You know what I mean? Like they're almost equal in a way.
I'm comparing everything,
They're
but overall, like I think gameplay, this obviously wins. Like gameplay and mechanics, Breath of the Wild wins. But
I don't know.
gameplay and mechanics can only like carry your game so far to be fun.
Yeah.
So I think that I think that the main important things I'm looking for in a game is like a good story that'll keep me engaged. A good like funness level where I'm having fun playing it, and like challenging dungeons like and new areas and stuff. I think that this one definitely succeeds better than Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild.
I
But
guess, I guess it
I
does
think it's
depend.
I think it squeaks by, but Breath of the Wild only has like 4 dungeons. Link's Awakening has 8, and
I think
all of the dungeons on Link's Awakening are like completely different atmosphere, complete like different imaginative bosses that are fun. And then the
yeah.
final boss fight is great. And this is also like I think the only Zelda game where the ending, or it's not the only one. It's definitely the one where the ending shook me the most. Like all of these endings are like really really good, but Link's Awakening just hits so hard because it does like what Twilight Princess should have done, where it slowly introduces you to the character of Marin, and like it makes you just fall in love with her, and like it slowly then it drops hits
Or
like you're going to have to kill her, and like everyone else who lives here. So it
Yeah.
gets you attached much better than it does like Twilight Princess. So then like when you finally get to the point where you can beat the game, like you're hesitant to because you're like, if I beat this game, like she is going to die and so is everyone else because they're not real, and it
Hmm.
makes it like a very bittersweet ending. And I think that that's why this one has probably the strongest ending out of all of them. So I think that that's really why it squeaks by Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I mean that's a valid reason. I just feel like if they had a Vandal in the
Yeah.
game, it'd probably be top of S for me, but just more,
Dude, my
I
top
guess it's preference.
Shadow Wizard says, "Dude, my top five is literally the same as yours. MMOOT, Link Between Worlds, LA, Breath of the Wild. They're the best. I'm tired of seeing like I see the same list every time where people put like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess there, and I'm like, no, they don't. They do not belong there, dude. Yeah, I'm with you,
You
Shadow
gotta
Wizard, dude.
you
I'm
gotta
with you.
rank Sonic games next, bro.
So that's the thing is I have not played all the Sonic games. I'll
Oh
have to work on it.
my God.
I need to play. I've played all the 2D
Walk you
ones,
through that.
and I've played Sonic Adventure
You
one and
gotta do
two.
everything past '06. Well, no,
I've never
Adventure,
played
past Adventure.
06. One day I would like to play
That's like the
06.
game. That's like the game.
Everybody talks about how trash it is. I never played it.
Okay, well, it was great. It was beautiful.
I never. Where did my Tears of the Kingdom file? I added it like a little bit ago. Hold up, I'm gonna have to go to a be right back. Hold up, I'm gonna hide this real
Ocarina of
quick.
Time is the most iconic. Breath of the Wild might be the most impactful. It wasn't perfect, but it was completely necessary.
Yeah, I agree. The my only
Yeah.
issue with Breath of the Wild is that now it is kind of like split the fan base a lot more than it used to. Like I talked about this in my previous video, but like it used to be like the like fandom was split between whether you thought Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess was better. Uh, like there really was not that much differentiation between like those, and you never met anyone who liked both of them. Like I've never met a single person who loved one and didn't hate the other.
Right here.
So, but now like everybody's kind of come together to like hate on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think that they should be hated as much. I think that they're great, and it's great that like we got new fans of like my favorite video game series of all time. It's a little annoying sometimes because they will have no idea what they're talking about, but that's not their fault. They're new to this. I can't really talk much because I've been playing these games since before I could read, so I'm obviously going to be very biased towards a lot of these. But they, I think that that's great. I need to let me go to be right back so I can add a file of like the picture of Tears of the Kingdom so I can rank it, and I'll be right back.
Breath of the Wild was really necessary compared to all the other games. 'Cause it was like, I mean, like I don't play the other games at all, but even playing Breath of the Wild was just like, I don't know, the breath of fresh air from the graphics was beautiful. It's like I could kiss him through the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, there we go. All right, we're back. This should fix it where we have. Oh, what's up, man? What's up, Neat Pete? How you doing,
Mama,
bro? Okay,
just
there we
killed
go.
a man.
All right, there we go. This is it
Put
now.
it
So now
on
we have
my
Tears of the Kingdom.
sister.
Tears of the Kingdom, I think is honestly I might move it down to S. I gotta think about it. I really like. You'd switch the placement of Skyward Sword and Twilight. See, that's the thing is like I I like Skyward Sword. I think that it's definitely the slowest one, but it has a really strong story, and I never had the issue of like my motion controls malfunctioning. Twilight Princess, on the other hand, it is a drag to play through until you get the Master Sword. Like all the wolf sections, I absolutely hated, and the dungeons I think are some of like the more weaker dungeons. The only dungeon that I can think of Twilight Princess that I actually liked is the Orbiter Grounds. I think Orbiter Grounds was the most fun that I had playing that game. Because the rest of them are awful. The strongest thing about Twilight Princess is just that it has Midna, and she's the best companion. The game will drag on. The only reason that I kept playing was because Midna would say something funny, and I'm like, okay, this game has a little charm. Skyward Sword and A, yeah, I don't think that there's a bad Zelda game. I don't think that any of them are awful besides Zelda 2. So I think that
That,
like
that wasn't Zelda 2. What do you?
Yeah,
Definitely think one's bad.
Zelda 2 is the only one that I absolutely despise, and anybody who has played it will completely understand. I was talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I think Tears of the Kingdom is good. I think that the dungeons here are a lot better than Breath of the Wild, uh, which is awesome. But I think that it's slightly worse than Breath of the Wild just because this it has around the same issue where like the story is kind of disconnected from the gameplay, like extremely. Uh, the I think the final boss fight of Tears of the Kingdom is much better.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're counting DLC or not, but Breath of the Wild DLC, the final boss for that is better than the Ganondorf fight in Breath of the Wild, and I like the final dungeon of that one too. I think that felt more like dungeony like, but
Yeah.
yeah. I'm aware that like me disliking Twilight Princess is a really hot take because a lot of people like it,
It's
but
such a hot take when you say it.
dude, every tier list I looked up tier list of Zelda games to like try to see what other people thought once I beat them all, and I kept seeing Twilight Princess in S tier, and it would get me so like confused because I was like, am I like the only one who did not have a good time? So I looked up online and I found tons of forums of people who also do not like it, uh, and I don't understand. I really don't understand why people like it. I'm not against people having fun and people enjoying it. I just don't. I did not like it at all. Uh, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild I think are very close. I think that Tears of the Kingdom has like better dungeons, but I think Breath of the Wild has a little bit better like charm in their like their characters and stuff. I think that I was much more attached to the original champions and like that storyline than I was Tears of the Kingdom. And also Tears of the Kingdom just halts you like halfway. Like I think that it's building up like the whole build up of that was really good for Tears of the Kingdom where you go and you do all four of the first four dungeons, and then you go talk to Purah, and then you have a little mini boss fight with like mummified Ganondorf, and then I thought that was going to be the final boss fight right after that, but instead it sends you on like a wild goose chase with tons of research that you have to do and go to a completely new dungeon, way up in the sky, and then after you do that, you have to go to a new which dungeon in the ground, which is the worst dungeon I think I've ever played in a Zelda game, besides like all of the ones from Zelda 2. The one underground, like the ancient mines where you have to recreate the little robotic guy, is abysmal. It takes way too long, and it's slow. It's boring. I hated it, and it completely ruins the pacing. If they removed that section and just had it where it was you beat the four dungeons, you beat Mummified Ganon, and then you go straight to like the final boss fight, I think that this would be better than Link's Awakening. I think that this would be my fourth favorite, but it just kills the gameplay of it. I will say though that Tears of the Kingdom I think has the most solid final boss fight out of the majority of the games.
Yeah.
My main issue with it is that I don't think that the dragon form should have existed. I think that it should have just been a Ganon and Link like one-on-one fight. I get that that's where they were going with the whole dragonification, where like he pulls off the stone and eats it, turns into a dragon, and goes and fights. But that whole final section was so unnecessary and way too easy, which sucked because like they made Ganon awesome. Like when you beat the first phase and like you see his health bar like extend past like the screen, that was so cool. Like I was like, oh, this game gets like they understand how to make him terrifying, and then it just kills it right afterwards. Also, like him flurry rushing, like I feel like it really almost ruined like that final boss fight with the dragon stuff. What'd you say? Give me a new outfit or weapon. It's basically just giving us the middle finger. Yeah, it was it wasn't fun. Also, like I'm not gonna hate on Tears of the Kingdom a lot for having the same map and stuff because that'd be kind of hypocritical since my favorite one is Majora's Mask, which is just all the same assets and stuff. But they still like they didn't change much. Also, the underground area is empty and boring. I don't know why they hyped it up as like the map is now tripling in size because you have the sky and like the beneath, but the beneath has nothing. The sky part is pretty fun, but there's only like a few sky parts throughout the entire game. Like I really thought we were gonna get like a huge sky map, like a huge sections, but outside of like the main area, there's not a lot.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
hop out, do homework, Ryan.
you're
Just
good, man.
good luck, and
Thank you
remember,
for hopping in.
yeah, remember that a cat meows and a hawk too.
I didn't like that. God. gosh. Alright, well, which one we got? Well, alright, the last one is Minish Cap. I kind of talked about it. Yeah, Majora reused the same assets as Ocarina, but it was a completely different world with a complete different story vibe, and that soundtrack it only took them a year. Yeah, they popped that out really really quick. Yeah, I have no issue with Majora reusing the same assets. I thought that was really cool. That's why I'm not gonna rip on Tears of the Kingdom for like doing the exact same thing. They just didn't expand upon it a lot. But yeah, I keep glazing Majora's Mask, but that's my favorite game of all time. I have a giant Majora's Mask poster right there, and then where you can't see it behind the camera, and then that right there is the Ocarina of Time like GameStop poster. Yeah, I got an ex GameStop employee gave me that when the game released. So I have like an Ocarina. I got the Ocarina of Time poster. Sorry, I'm trying to readjust my camera. But yeah, that's what that poster is up there. I like it. I think it's cool. It's a weird thing to have in my apartment, but that's fine. Alright, let's see. Where do I put Minish Cap? Minish Cap is one that ticks me off strictly because of the community. Because I kept saying that it was underrated, and I really don't think it is. I see more people talk about Minish Cap than the majority of the ones on this list. And I've seen people call for like a remake, and it doesn't need one. Kind of the main point of this one is like, it doesn't need a remake. It literally has like a timeless art style. It's the same thing with Wind Waker. Wind Waker did not really need like that big of a remake. I think Wind Waker would have been fine with just upping it up to 1080 and then 60 frames. They didn't need to like change the lighting system and stuff, but they did anyways. But they don't need that for Minish Cap. It is perfectly fine the way it is. But I don't know. That one might be an A tier. I think that might be it. That might be the complete list. I just realized I kind of left like Link to the Past by itself here in the S tier. If it was up to me, I think I would move. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna move Tears of the Kingdom down to S tier. I think I'm gonna move that one down. After talking about it more, I kind of got reminded of like the second half of that game, or after you beat like Mummified Zelda, or sorry, Mummified like Ganon, it really does like slow down way too much. You have to do two little like a half dungeon and then another really bad dungeon. So I think I'm gonna move that one down. I think the rest of this is fair though. I think this is a pretty fair list. I don't think I said any like super hot takes outside of like the Twilight Princess one, but I think that's fair. I think this list is complete. I don't think I can be persuaded about any of this. This list is probably subject to change. I might need to replay a couple of these to reclaim like some information. But as of right now, I think this is where I am. Problem you had is with Skyward Sword is not only the motion controls, but how hand-holding the game was, especially at the beginning of the game. Treats you like a dumb child that can't do anything. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these games have like a big issue with hand-holding, but all the ones that have like very big hand-holding kind of let you loose eventually. So like Ocarina of Time is extremely hand-holding in the beginning, but then the moment you become an adult, it's gone. You're by yourself. It really doesn't remind you of that much. Sheik is the only one where like you kind of get trickles of information, and also like the first couple dungeons are like very handholdy, but Skyward Sword never really like lets you go. It just keeps like reminding you and telling you where to go and stuff, and it makes it very boring. I like knowing where the objective is, but I don't like knowing exactly how to get there. Like I would like to find my own way. But Skyward Sword just doesn't let you do that. It puts you in guard. It's like when you're bowling and they throw up the little guardrails. That's how Skyward Sword feels. And then it claps for you every time you knock a pin over. Like, yeah, you told me to do that. You have the guardrails up. It's impossible for you to be to miss. I would like you need to fail every once in a while because it builds character. Like you need to have a moment where you mess up or die, and that way, like the reason why people like Dark Souls so much is because like the dopamine rush you get when you beat the boss you've been struggling on for hours on end is phenomenal. That's why you need to have like a good difficulty curve, so that way like the player feels rewarded for beating a boss or beating something that is supposed to be hard. And I never really got that feeling in Skyward Sword. I don't think I died that often. There was like one or two moments that I thought were like kind of confusing. Most Zelda games you have to look up a guide for some areas, or at least once. There's a couple of them that I made sure to not use a guide for. Which ones did I not use a guide for? Majora's Mask, the first time I beat it, I didn't use a guide. Same thing for Ocarina of Time, Link Between Worlds. Link Between Worlds, you don't need a guide. This game is easy, but it's easy in a good way. Ages and Seasons, I needed a guide for, but Skyward Sword, I don't think I ever used a guide besides like. I'm trying to think. I think there might have been one time I had to use a guide for that one, but it's just way too handholdy. You don't like the overworld because of the limited tree, 3 areas that you constantly go back and more padding. Yeah, you have to keep going back to like the same. There's three areas that you can go to, and that's it. And they're all pretty bad. Elder Volcano was awful. I also thought Midna was far better than 5. Yeah, Midna is the best companion. If this was a companion, I might pull up like a companion tier list. You know, next, because I really want to do that. But Midna is by far the best companion. Nobody else even comes close to her. The only one that I can think of that it might be better is Ciela. I don't know if I'm saying that right, from Phantom Hourglass, because I think that's the one of the few companions that actually has like her own arc to go through. So I think that might be the only one that I can think of that's a little bit better. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, Skyward Sword just has like a lot of issues. I would. Do I put Minish Cap up? The issue is like all the ones on A tier I think is like pretty good locked in. I think all these are pretty fair. The only hot take that, or like not even a hot take, the only one that might be a little like like bad is Four Swords Adventures being higher than these three. Edward Sea was by far my favorite section. Yeah, that one was fun. I like that one. What the pirate ship was the best part of the game. It's been a while since I beat Skyward Sword, but I can remember that. I just kind of judge like how good the story is on these, on like how long it's been since I played them and how much I can remember. So if I can remember like the whole story, I'm like, yeah, that was a good one because that's memorable. Because I cannot name like most of the games that I play or have played in a while, like that are like story based. They're in one ear and out the other. So if I could actually remember a story off of one of these, it's a good one. Yeah, dude, the pirate ship level was so much fun. That one also didn't feel like a dungeon, which I like. I think Skyward Sword excelled in having areas that did not feel like they were dungeons, but they were. And I'll give points to Twilight Princess for it too, because the little castle. What is it? Not the castle. I'm trying to think. Which one of the Twilight Princess was the little mountain dungeon? That one was really cool. The little where you have to get ingredients. I liked that one. I thought that one was good. That's like that and Orbiter Grounds are the only dungeons that I liked. You didn't like Snow Peak Ruins? Snow Peak Ruins that's the name of it. I did like that one. Lake Bed I did not like. That one was really annoying. I thought that dungeon was just really. It was just really confusing. Water dungeons just have like a bad stigma ever since Ocarina of Time of being bad, and they don't have to be, but they just keep making bad water dungeons, and that's one of them. I think Lake Bed was worse than Water Temple and Ocarina of Time. I would much rather do Water Temple Ocarina of Time than that one. And City in the Sky is my least favorite dungeon, or is one of my least favorite dungeons of all time. I didn't like the story that had to go with it. The music was obnoxious. It had the same enemies every once in a while. The claw shot was cool, but I mean it's just the same item, but you have two of them now. and it also just takes way too. All the dungeons in Twilight Princess take way too long, but that one was obnoxiously long. Like I was just waiting for that one to end. I did not like that. City of the Sky. If I ever replay Twilight Princess, I think I would play up to City of the Sky and then I would turn the game off. I will never. I will unless I'm doing like a streamathon or something. I will never play that one again. That one is very annoying. But I'm sorry if that one's your favorite dungeon. That one just went on for way too long. Like I would like a dungeon to hold my interest, keep me happy, and be fun to finish. But if it takes too long, you start to be like, how much longer? How much longer is left of this? The Gorons and Twilight Princess are your favorite. They have tattoo markings. Look, yeah, the art direction for that one is really cool. Sorry, excuse me. The sumo wrestling sections I liked. I thought those were really fun. But the art direction's great for that. That one is definitely one of the better looking ones, and I think it has the best like realistic looking Link suit. Um, but I hate everything in between. Up into getting the Master Sword, the game is virtually unplayable, which sucks because it's. I know a lot of people like it. I just couldn't get behind it. I might do. Let me do a little. Let me do a little like pause thing real quick. Let me do a. I'll be right back screen so I can try to do. I'm gonna find a companion tier list and I'll do that one too. But I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? I will save that for another time. I think that I'm going to get off and end the stream because I'm probably gonna go cook some dinner or something. I don't know what time zone y'all are in, but it might be time for me to cook some dinner. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate for all the people in chat. Y'all have a nice day. Bye.